Hello, hello.
Hello.
I am pumped. I know Katie is pumped. It is officially the NFL draft. If you are watching us on demand, if you're watching us live right now or listening, listen, this podcast is getting loaded as soon as we are done, or you're listening. Katie and I are giving you our first round picks, everything, not all of them. We're not giving you 32 picks. I can't even drive myself crazy. I know for the fact that NFL analysts do that, I can't even, I couldn't even imagine. So, but we are here. It is NFL draft night, and it has been a crazy week where I have not been paying attention to anything at all because I'm just so ready for the draft. But thank you all, as always, for joining us. We are the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. This is episode 157. We are coming to you on a Thursday night. It is a special episode. It also is a mini episode. We are in draft mode in 2 hours right now. So Katie and I just got to give you all the goodness, all the goods. So give me 1 second here. I got to share this on the Twitter. And always that countdown goes so fast. And I'm like, oh, I share it on Facebook. I share it on Twitter. I do everything. So, okay, now I can literally see myself. That's fun as I'm looking at the Twitter. But okay, so we are live. We are here. So let's get started with some poll questions. We asked you guys some great ones. And as always, phenomenal engagement. Keep coming week after week, guys. You really do give us some great, questions, engagement on our polls. We absolutely love it. So we asked you a bunch of questions tonight. So usually I read them all out, but there are a decent amount. So I'm just going to read them one by one.
Yep.
And we will go over the results. So the first question: which quarterback do you think the San Francisco 49ers are more likely to draft at the number 3 spot tonight? Mr. Mac Jones or Mr. Trey Lance? Okay, so people, we are making history yet again here. This has only happened 2 times in Real Football Fans of New Jersey history. We have a split, dead, even tie, 50-50. So half you went with Mac and half you went with Trey. And guess what? I'm seeing this trend across Twitter, across ESPN, SportsCenter, everything.
Yeah.
Every day, it's very similar to flashback to the Sam Darnold quarterback, Baker Mayfield draft. Every day it was switching. Mindsets were switching. Trey Lance, Mac Jones to San Francisco. Every day I wake up, there's a new mindset. There's a new opinion on it. And there's a new mock draft where it's, okay, today it's Mac Jones. Tomorrow it's Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm not surprised here, but who did you pick here?
I went with Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Keep hearing that storyline over the fact that that is who they came up for originally at number 3, but that they wanted to do their due diligence in checking out Justin Fields as well as Trey Lance.
As they should.
And then once they did that, you have kind of heard the rumblings, and this is why we asked you guys this poll question. We've heard the rumblings that they are picking between Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Who knows? That could just be BS, but that's what they're saying out there. But I think they're going to stick with who we are being told they originally came up for. I'm sticking with Mac Jones.
As am I. I picked Mac Jones as well. I've seen some crazy drafts of Mac Jones falling to, the Patriots at the 15 spot. We will talk about the Patriots in a little bit. I think that's a bit aggressive in my opinion, and then you have someone like Trey Lance, who I joke about this constantly. He kind of came out of nowhere. Someone brought his name up 3 months ago and he's just been spoken about since. So it's definitely an interesting two-player combo there of who's going to a very well-established franchise in the 49ers. So definitely interesting, and it's at the number 3 spot, so we don't have to wait long to know, but we will see that.
Yep.
All righty, number 2. Who is more likely to be the first non-quarterback off the board? Tight end Kyle Pitts or offensive tackle Penei Sewell? And I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly because you guys know me.
I think we kind of talked about this a little bit. I think this came up last week in the show.
I think it did too.
But it was very interesting to see what everybody else thought. What were the results on this one before we give our own answers?
66% of you went with Mr. Tight end Kyle Pitts.
I'm almost surprised it's not a little bit higher. I think it's Kyle Pitts.
I went with Kyle Pitts as well. I think, listen, and they're both unique positions because we talk about tight end where it's like the George Kittles of the world. It's the Gronkowskis of the world, the Ertzes of the world. And it's like, you get this tight end and it's like, there's 5 in the league that are like super great. And like, that's their name. And like everyone else kind of falls into place.
Mm-hmm.
So for someone like Kyle Pitts to be spoken about and a tight end, like going in the top 10 and like a real guy, potentially could go in the top 5, in my opinion. And we'll get into that later, but like things could shake up. He could go earlier maybe, but to have that position go early is always great. And it's great to see.
Yeah.
Could we have the next, Rob Gronkowski? We don't know. But, and then also an offensive tackle. Love if you can sign on to an offensive lineman early and have him for the rest of your life, the rest of his career. Incredible. So someone like Sewell, like clearly the talent's there. So if he's available and he's early, so I think this is it's such an interesting dynamic because it's 2 positions, clearly non-quarterback, but 2 crucial positions. If you get early and you get a very long-term like guy out of it, awesome pick.
Absolutely.
All righty. Moving on to our next question. And this has been my hot take for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Will the Patriots move up into the top 10? So not just move up, people, specifically move from 15 into the top end. Yes or no? 54% of you said yes.
Okay. I actually went no on this. And my hot take, if you want to call it that, is that the Patriots do trade up, but they don't crack the top 10. I can see them moving up from 15. Especially, if things shake out where there's kind of maybe a quarterback that starts to slip a little bit and the Patriots can kind of wiggle their way up there and grab one. I mean, because I think if they do come up, I think they're coming up for a quarterback.
Yeah. And listen, it's been like my hottest. So I said yes. So this has been like my biggest take over the past 2 months. If you follow me on Twitter, if you watch our show, and if you just know us from the past 3 years, like I'm not a huge mock draft person, especially when they come like wildly early. I just like roll my eyes and first of all, it's too much anxiety for me. Like I'm focused on like Alabama football at the time. You can't throw like 15,000 other really good, talented players in my face. Like it's too much for me. Yeah. But you do understand, for me, it's easier to understand trends of where teams are going to move around, what real estate they have in the draft, what type of money they have capital wise in regards to the cap space and things like that, and what they did in the offseason and everything like that. So the Patriots right now, actually, I think do sit very pretty with where they are at 15, but they do have the ability to move up into the top 10 and not shoot themselves in the foot later on. They are capable of doing it. And again, it has been one of my biggest takes over the past couple of months that they will definitely tonight move into the top 10.
You know what's really funny is, I know this is like a constant theme that we talk about when it comes to the draft, is how ever changing it is day by day, week by week. It changes so much. And here I am thinking about 2 of these poll questions. And just like a month or 2 ago, it was very common that we saw Mac Jones not going at 3, but going at 15 to the New England Patriots. Yep. I even saw him a couple weeks ago in like all the mock drafts I was reading, seeing him go in the 20s to the New Orleans Saints. And all of a sudden, here we are, and he could be the number 3 pick. So it's amazing how much things change. It really is.
It really does. I did read a mock draft this morning, and it was actually, I think I didn't read it. Sorry. It was on like ESPN this morning, and it was Mac Jones falling to 15 to the New England Patriots, just organically. So like the Patriots didn't have to do anything. They just.
I remember seeing him in the mid to the end of the first, either to the Patriots, Washington, or New Orleans. So, hey, it could happen. Something organically could happen. Maybe not even Mac Jones. Maybe one of the other quarterbacks could organically fall to New England at 15. It's going to be such an amazing draft tonight.
It really is. And we'll dive into the QBs a little bit more because again, it's a QB heavy draft, very similar to what we had a couple of years ago.
Right.
But our final poll question tonight is, are you confident with your team's current position in the first round? So listen, a lot of shit can happen at 8 o'clock. Things can move around.
Right.
We asked right now, are you confident? And 73% of you said yes. That is another interesting factor of this draft. I have seen a lot more people just like they're okay with where they are. And
listen, we have a lot. We are based out of New Jersey, right? We have a lot of Jets fans and a lot of Giants fans. Now, I think being at number 2, the New York Jets, I think that's very pressure filled.
It's a lot of pressure.
Unless you have like your surefire, I know this guy, like if you have your Trevor Lawrence, you might feel better. It seems as though they're going to be taking Zach Wilson. That's the main.
And like, is that your guy?
And who knows? Is this just going to be another Sam Darnold situation where it's
because you were confident with him,
your guy?
Yeah.
But I think Jets fans seem to be confident it too. And as a Giants fan, and some, a lot of our voters here, I love the 11 spot, and I said that to people before we went on the show. There's not that pressure. And I think there are so many different guys that we can land at 11. Like if somebody goes that maybe we were looking at, I still think there's a ton of other guys that like we'll be just as happy with.
Yeah.
So I think we are in the perfect cushion spot at 11. I love it. I couldn't be happier.
We've got options, and I love that too. We've clearly have had options in the past, but I think in the past I've been so sold on one person. So, and we'll obviously get into later, like who.
This is a quarterback heavy draft, right? We don't need a quarterback. So if all these teams, if we have 10 teams picking ahead of us and 5 of them pick quarterbacks, then we're only fighting with 5 other teams for players that we want, right?
Yeah.
So it's a great position to be in.
Yeah, so I love it. And clearly, obviously, Katie had said where we are from a regional standpoint. We do probably have a lot of people that are Jets and Giants fans, pretty confident. We did have some Philly fans vote within our polls. I did see that. A couple of 49ers fans, given where Katie's family falls. So it's interesting to see for sure. But yeah, it's just even just looking at like a team like the Dolphins, like I think they should be very confident with where they are. They made a lot of moves, so they have a great real estate. Even like a team like the Broncos are actually not in a bad spot for a kind of bad team last year.
Listen, I think those teams that are in the top 10, you want to stretch it out to the Giants, even stretch it out to the first 12 picks and include Philly in there at 12. If you're one of those teams that's not selecting a quarterback, I think you're golden. I really
you are so good, like so good.
Yeah.
All righty. So those were our poll questions. As always, thank you guys for voting in them. We are live for probably the next like 20-ish minutes or so. If you have any questions for us, any commentary across this, please go ahead. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter right now. Let's go. Show us your hot takes. Let me see your first round hot takes, anything like that. Any questions you have for us. I'm sure we'll answer them in the next 20 minutes, but go ahead, rapid fire. We're ready.
I've definitely had a lot of DMs today, a lot of text messages from a lot of Giants fans.
I loved the text of like, who are the Giants going with? And I was just like, tune in at 6 p.m.
I should have responded that way, but I definitely had a lot of conversations with people today, and that kind of leads into our next little baby topic here. We have to give you our opinion on the Giants and what we think they might do, what we would be happy with. Kind of goes off of what we were just saying. We love the 11 pick, right? Would we be happy moving out of 11? Would we be happy with a potential trade? More so, I want to talk more so about moving a couple spots down. So going later, picking later. How do you feel about that?
I really don't feel confident with it. I think with the 11th pick, I feel like we're in the top 10. I know it's just one out, but I feel like we're in like a 6 or 7 slot. Like that's how solid this draft is.
If you take out the quarterbacks, we are like the 5th pick.
There's so much talent. I think, whoever even picks 32 is going to have such a solid person joining their team. There's so much talent across the board. Like we say it's quarterback heavy, it's wide receiver heavy, but there's so many niche little positions too that are just filled with talent. So I'm so comfortable. And I said this to Katie, like before the show, like I was so jittery and excited. And like, cause I have been all week, like this is the first time that I've entered a draft where like, I'm not nervous because whoever's name is called, unless the Giants royally fuck this up, like in any way, shape, or form, like, and I'm not pulling that off the table. Like I'll be a realist for sure.
Gettleman pulls some weird stuff sometimes.
He does. I just don't think right now. And I did tweet about this and I got dragged for it because I said moved up instead of down. And you guys know that's a problem for me. I always say moving up is technically moving down because that's how my head works. But I did tweet out, like, I just don't, there's no point in us going down. At this point, I just don't feel comfortable with it. The Giants don't have much real estate in the draft though. Well, so unless
that's why I want to play devil's advocate here.
But if you give us like a boatload of picks,
we don't need a boatload. Here's where we don't need a boatload. Now I know this ended up being a fake tweet, right? But that whole Chargers thing that happened, which we all freaked out about at first, right? Had the Chargers at pick 13. Trading with the Giants to go up to 11. The Giants would be getting that 13 pick and also a third round. I would be completely and utterly fine with that. That's only 2 picks later. I think we could still land one of the players that we wanted. And the Giants have no picks in this draft. We have like 6 total picks, which is just crazy.
Think of how well we did last season, though. Our draft last year was so good in the later rounds, too.
But this isn't like... I'm not talking like a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounder. I'm talking if we could also just move 2 spots down and snag a 3rd round guy.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. So I think they're going to stay put. I do. Some people even think that New England's going to come a knock into the New York Giants at number 11. I've seen that a little bit in mock drafts.
I hope Joe Judge and Gettleman are like, nah.
Yeah, right. But I think they will stay put at 11. So let's talk about, if they stay at that 11 spot, assuming they stay at that 11 spot. I want you to tell me who you think the Giants are going to take, and I want you to tell me who you want the Giants to take.
So I think if a guy like Jalen Waddle is still on the board, they will go after someone like that. So it's just... I think it's very interesting because, and we will talk about it soon, kind of like more in detail of what the Giants need to go after in this draft. There's just so many big names on this board, and not big names that I think are going to be busts. I think a lot of these kids are going to be stars in the NFL, and you really can't pass up on it. And I'm very confident that the Giants built up their defense this last season. Yeah. They made great moves offensively in free agency and even, worked around some offensive issues during the season. So I am actually pretty confident with bringing, and I know it sounds wild, but another wide receiver because it's a name
wild about it.
Because I don't want people to go home and cry to their parents or to their mom, but like, Sterling Shepard might not be a New York Giant for the rest of his life. And I know like that sucks. And like, I know New York Giants fans like might be upset about that comment, but like, I love him. But even, okay, Darius Slayton, like he's young, like, and I think he's going to do great things, but if he doesn't do great things in the next 2 years, he might not be a Giant. Like,
yeah,
you just have to build up. We do have a big wide receiver core. So I think like a name like Waddle, if he's there and he's available, I don't think the Giants are going to not take him.
Okay, so this is who you think the Giants are going to take.
Yes.
Jalen Waddle. And I mean, I assume you want Jalen Waddle.
I do, but I couldn't not just put one person. So I'm cool with Jalen Waddle. I'm cool with Micah Parsons. And I'm also is it Micah or Micah? I'm always
Micah. I think it's Micah.
Okay, because I'm always bad at that name. Very common name. So I was an English major. Very common name in novels. My head, I always said Micah. So
I think it's Micah.
I guess I'm wrong. So always said that. But I think he would. So Micah Parsons from Penn State would be a phenomenal addition to our team. But like I just said, like we really worked on the defense this past year, and we had some games where I was like, God damn, I wouldn't want to go against the Giants defense. Like, holy shit. Like, so I can only see it getting better. And then obviously Devontae Smith, that's another name. I don't think he will be available though, realistically at the 11th spot. But if he is there, I do see them going. So Waddle for me is what I think they will do. What I want is Waddle, Smith, or Parsons. So
got it. Okay. All right. What I think the Giants are going to do is I think Gettleman, I'm going to, ride that theme of Gettleman loving his hog mollies. And I'm going to go with offensive lineman Rashawn Slater out of North.
I'm fine with that. Like, give me a hog molly. And like, that's the thing too. Like some names have been put out there and it's like, I've seen tweets like Giants fans, like, don't get mad if so-and-so is taken. And he's been one of them. Who's getting mad at that?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Give me 5 of him.
And see, this is why I like 11 because, okay, so Slater is who I think they're going to take.
Right.
Now, all the guys that you just named that you want, I want them too. Do I want Slater? Yeah, I want him too. Like,
give us 5 picks and 1 pick. We want all.
That's the thing is like, if some of those guys aren't on the board anymore at 11, like, I have a whole list of guys that I would genuinely like. So, if I had to pick one, that's really hard. But you know what? I kind of like this one comment that I told you I had a lot of messages today, a lot of texts from Giants fans, and I kind of like this one comment that my friend made. He's a Giants fan, and he said, "Give me one of the wide receivers because I know everybody wants to like see Daniel Jones prove it." And this will just show us like whether we need to move forward with him or move on without him. Like, let's just put it out there. And I kind of like that thought process. Like, yeah, I'll be happy with an offensive lineman, but this is a lot of people are considering this a make or break year for Daniel Jones. And if you give him Waddle and Golladay and Slayton and Shepard and Saquon and Evan Ingram and he doesn't produce, it's just is what it is. And at least we can know that we gave him the weapons to work with. Like, think about Sam Darnold in New York for the Jets. Like, we don't know whether it was Sam Darnold
have much
or was it because he never gave him the weapons.
Right.
And then you have to live as a Jets fan of wondering that for the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, I think they'll ride, like you gave him like Le'Veon Bell, like late in his career, but you also gave Le'Veon Bell's late in his career. Like that's what you gave. Like
you didn't get Pittsburgh Steelers.
No. But like, I think that's like what people like will probably like counter that, but it's like, you didn't really get Le'Veon Bell.
But I like
that. I do.
Yeah, I like that take a lot because it's just like, here you go. I'm giving you the house and like.
But why not? And that's like the wide receivers too. Like I look at like a team like the Arizona Cardinals, like they're kind of screwing themselves over with like the moves they're making like in the offseason. Like you have to pay Kyler Murray like in a year or two. Like you have to pay other people soon. And so you're making these big moves, like do it in the draft. Stack up your positions in the draft. Like why? Like I don't understand. So like I think we're doing a good job and like we do have the opportunity to stack maybe in the wide receiver area because Daniel Jones could be make or break. I think the Cardinals are set and like me personally, I love Daniel Jones. And I think he will be okay and we'll move forward. But like Cardinals and like I look at them, they've been set on Kyler Murray, no matter how shitty he could be potentially. They are like that's a done deal.
Yeah.
Totally done deal.
There's no talk of like, oh, is he our guy of the future?
There isn't. And that's just the nature of their franchise. That's the nature of their team. And that's fine. But they're kind of making stupid decisions. The Giants are in a good spot to where they could stack in the wide receiver area. And like you just said, give Daniel Jones all of these weapons. If it doesn't work, that is our clear note. And we understand that it's time to move on.
Yep, absolutely. All right. I mean, there you go. There's our, your takes from two massive Giants fans.
I'm just excited. Welcome to Big Blue.
And again, I think just like the overall consensus for Caitlin and I is that we're happy at 11. And unless something crazy happens, which I'm not even going to put that thought aside because it is Dave Gettleman and he does do some crazy shit sometimes.
He's a crazy mofo.
He would have to really just pick somebody super random that we didn't just list for us to just kind of be like, ooh, does this feel right? Like, I feel good at 11. Yeah. Let's hope it stays good at 11. So
absolutely.
All right.
All righty. Well, we are going to give you now our top 5 predictions. So top 5 picks. We will predict them for you. As a reminder, the top 5 picks as of right now are the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Jets, the San Francisco 49ers, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Cincinnati Bengals. And we are giving you our picks of this is it. There's no straighten down, no straighten up, no one's doing anything. There's no craziness. Like these are like, if we were to set the draft, like the draft already happened, essentially, the top 5 picks. Like Katie and I are giving you. So we could go into the crazy scenarios and I could totes give some, I know one of my other hot takes, something spicy is going to happen. And I know I use spicy as a...
That's okay. I like it. I like it.
Something spicy is going to happen 1 through 5. I don't know what. But Katie and I are not playing the spicy card right now. No. We are just giving you our straight
spicy version.
This is the non-spicy. Well, listen, your picks might be spicy. I don't know. I played it pretty safe, to be honest.
They're pretty vanilla. They ain't spicy.
Mine are pretty vanilla. So we're just giving you our top 5 picks. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft this year is
Trevor Lawrence.
I pray that the Jaguars don't pick him. I swear. I need some like,
yeah.
I did obviously pick him though. Like
Trevor Lawrence.
No shit. If they don't.
Here's a fun fact because you guys all know that Caitlin doesn't do it, but I read mock drafts for the last 3-4 months.
Did someone not pick him?
I have in that time frame, I never came across a mock draft that did not have Trevor Lawrence at 1.
I am convinced that if it does not happen, there's going to be so much uproar and like chaos. They're going to have to cancel the draft. There's going to be.
I think him and his wife already like donated money to Jacksonville. So
I think they did too.
It's like done. It's done.
I want the chaos. Like I just want them not to pick him. Like
because then he'd go to the Jets, and I don't want that.
Well, I don't care where he goes. I just want them to not like. I just love it. I love the chaos. So.
All right.
Coming in at number 2, the New York Jets.
For the last couple weeks now, this is seemed to be pretty secure as well. And I'm not reading any mock drafts that have anything different. I'm going with quarterback Zach Wilson.
So I am as well, and it really only became secure when they made the decision on Sam Darnold. Like I think you even brought it up on one of the episodes. Like they're going to make a decision on Sam Darnold on draft night. I was like, I don't know. I was like, that's too much for me. But they made it earlier, and you're right. The conversation has not shifted. It's been Zach Wilson to the Jets at number 2, and again, another team maybe could turn the corner and not pick him, but who knows? So I get so many flashbacks to that one draft with all those quarterbacks, and
I know
anything could happen.
We're up for another fun one like that. That was a fun year, and this is a fun year too.
But obviously, I went with Zach Wilson as well. Yeah. Number 3, the San Francisco 49ers.
We talked about this one, obviously, with our poll. So, yeah, I'm sticking with my choice.
Well, we just had 2 options in the poll. You could have picked the non-quarterback.
That's very, very true. I'm sticking with Mac Jones.
Me too.
All right. We're very vanilla so far. When are we going to shake it up, baby?
Maybe right now. The Atlanta Falcons coming in at number 4.
The theme of things always changing. For a couple of weeks there, I was saying that quarterbacks were going to go 1 through 4. I have now changed my mind. I do believe it is tight end Kyle Pitts to the Atlanta Falcons. And if that is the case, and like Julio is still there, I'm scared. I'm afraid.
So I'm not scared of the Atlanta Falcons because that they piss me off year after year. I am agreeing with you. I do think Kyle Pitts will go to the Atlanta Falcons. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if everything stays the same as it is right now. And if he goes, guess what? I think Julio Jones is out. You have Calvin Ridley, a young stud coming up. Julio Jones has not been performing at your capacity. The Falcons also, maybe later, might go after a quarterback in the later rounds. They might get Matt Ryan's replacement. So why not get a replacement with a brand new tight end? So just saying, I think if Kyle Pitts is in, Julio's out. Julio, you want to give us a call?
There's your spicy take.
That is spicy. So Julio Jones, you want to give the New York Giants a call? I don't care. Put everyone in that damn position.
Oh, God.
We will call you. Okay. And then finally at number 5, the Cincinnati Bengals. Who do you have them taking?
Definitely seeing a mix of things in mock drafts. I think a lot of people love to reunite wide receiver Jamar Chase with his former college quarterback and Joe Burrow. And that obviously would be really cool pick. But I am going with Sewell here. Joe Burrow just had a massive injury his rookie season. Let's secure him. Let's make sure he's okay. Given the best offensive lineman in this draft to protect him, I am going with Sewell at 5.
You say that so confidently, and you say it confidently because you're a football fan and you understand football and all this stuff. The Cincinnati Bengals will fuck this up royally, and they're going to go with Jamar Chase. You need.
Wait. I don't consider that effing up, though.
Sorry.
Okay, they have no wide receivers. They have no wide receivers.
It doesn't matter. If I was a Bengals fan and you put everything into him, like, you need to help him. You need to protect him.
I think it's a win either way. I mean, you don't have AJ Green now. You don't have John Ross now. Like, you have nobody at wide receiver.
Well, okay, so maybe saying F that up is too aggressive, but
it's aggressive.
It is, but
because everybody considers Jamar Chase in this loaded wide receiver class to be the number 1 wide receiver. So.
I agree. And I'm not, even though he played for LSU and it makes me want to pull my hair out, I'm not disagreeing. There's no bias here.
So are you going with Sewell at 5?
No, I'm going with Jamar Chase because I think the Bengals are going
to mess it up. Okay.
We're definitely going to, mess it up, not F it up. But because to me, it's, you have to go offensive line. You have to go someone there.
All right.
But so that is it. So that is our top 5 picks. Again, yeah. Katie and I played it very vanilla because we kept it to what is it right now. I think one of the teams, if you want to get spicy, one of those teams will not be in the top 5.
Okay. I mean, a team like the Patriots, like we said, they could
come
up. Who knows? We'll see. It's going to be good.
I'm excited.
I won't be stunned like if something happens and somebody comes up.
I got it. 1 through 5. Something's happening. I don't know what. Something.
All right. I like it. All right, let's play our game. This is a classic RFFNJ game. It is called Sip Yo Drink and Filling Yo Blank. And obviously it is draft related, as this whole episode is. And this dives further into not just the top 5 picks, not just what the New York Giants are going to be doing, but kind of predictions and thoughts about, the draft in general and what everybody's going to be doing. So let's just kick it right off. Some of these things we've touched on already, but further explanation. Question number 1. I think the number of quarterbacks to be drafted in the first round this year will be blank.
I'm going with 6.
Ooh, who's your number 6?
Mr. Kyle Trask out of Florida. Mm-hmm. I think it'll happen.
So here's my, maybe this is a hot take. I'm going with 5. Mm-hmm. And I could see the 6th quarterback not going until round 3.
And I think that's very fair. I think a lot of the guys falling after those top 5 guys, the top 5, the guys coming after those top 5, I can see them falling. I can actually see them falling past the 3rd round, going into the 4th round. Okay. But I do think a team is going to be like trigger happy and like jump on something and be stupid about it. Think about Jordan Love. Think about Jalen Hurts to the Eagles. Think about those quick things. I don't know. I can see him going. And if it's one guy, I'm going to put Kyle Trask into the next.
That would be so weird. But All right, crazier things have happened. Number 2, I think the first round drafted quarterbacks will go in this order.
All right. So since I do have Kyle Trask in the mix, I am going from 1 to 6 though. So I'm going with Lawrence, Wilson, Jones, Fields, Lance, and following up with the number 6 of Kyle Trask.
Okay, I've got Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, and Justin Fields. I could kind of see, because I said, like, I could kind of see Justin Fields doing a little bebe slip, not a big slip, but a bebe one.
I can see it
could
too.
maybe see the Patriots coming up and grabbing him.
I think, honestly,
I've heard that the Patriots like him, and I could
they
see
could get him
that
at 15, in my opinion. They can get him at 15.
I think that could potentially happen tonight. Number 3, this is an interesting one, because we said we really like the Giants' options at 11, but I would be upset if the Giants drafted blank at number 11.
And I made a comment before the Giants could totally shit the bed and go rogue and do something crazy. And I put quarterback. I swear to God. Well, but I bring up the examples I just brought up. No Green Bay fan was expecting them to take Jordan Love last year. No one was expecting the Eagles to take Jalen Hurts. Like no one in the world. Like no one in the world. I swear to God, though, if the Giants take and it's not, you have to be realistic about it. They're not going to take a special teams person at fucking 11. Right. So you just have to be realistic about it. But I swear to God, if they take
I don't have a quarterback here because I don't think that's realistic. I think that is like crazy outlandish. I could never see it happening. So yeah, I agree with you. If that happened, I'd rip my hair out. But I didn't even put that in there because I don't think that's a possibility. I put something that I think is a possibility, and it kind of goes off of a theme of like a mock draft I read last week. I posted it to our story, kind of giving what some of the predictions were last week. And I read a mock draft that had cornerback J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. Okay. Now, there's a couple of really good cornerbacks. He's one of them. Patrick Surtain from Alabama. That's another guy. Good. But I just don't want the cornerback position. I feel like there's other needs for the Giants. I would that early, I get. I will, and that's gonna be one of our questions, so I'll say no more. But I kind of like that's just a name that's like not on my list. Yeah. So it's No, I think it's good. Yep. That's my answer there. Number 4, if the Giants trade down, I wouldn't want them to pick any lower than number blank.
18.
Oh, okay. I went 15. Let's stick in the top 15. Let's not get too crazy with it. I just still think though with other really depend on like what somebody was going to give us in return. Right. But I would like to stay in the top 15 in this draft because I think, there are some real gems. You know how like you get to the middle and the end of the first round and you kind of like are like in drafts past, maybe you're rolling the dice on some players and hoping they pan out. Like I feel this draft is really solid. Yeah. Where like if you're picking in the top 15, like I think there could be 15 like surefire studs. Well, I think that's why. So like I didn't want to go to 20, but I thought 18 was a comfortable spot because I do think teams like the Patriots will move up. Okay. Yes. They will move up, but other teams will make moves too. So like if big names are going early and kind of snatching, like we could still sit pretty at 18, I think. So that's why I felt comfortable there for sure. But I do get what you're saying. I'd rather much so be in the top 15, of course, but. All right. Number 5 and I could have thrown this other question in here too, because funny enough, like we've got the Cowboys picking one spot before us. We've got the Eagles picking one spot after us. Nice little 3-pick stretch right there. But with the Eagles drafting just one pick behind the Giants, I could see them drafting blank. If Devontae Smith is still on the board, they're going with Devontae Smith. That's who I have. That's who I see. Definitely. Yep. All right, number 6, the top 3 positions I want the Giants to focus on in the draft are blank. So I'm going with offensive linemen. I'm going with pass rushers. Very interested in that. Yep. And then while I know we made some moves in free agency and we have Mr. Saquon Barkley, of course, I do think we should look into running backs to all the you got to look at I was looking at the roster like in detail. I think if we have like 3 solid running backs, like that's dangerous. Like, and you can't predict the unpredictable. So like everything that happened with Saquon last season, we tried so hard with Gallman, we brought in Devontae Freeman. It just didn't work for us. There was no run game. There was nothing. So if we could stack up there and like bring in a really good, I'm not saying go after it in the first round. Like do not go after Najee Harris. Do not go. I love him. Like I would love him to be a Giant. Like don't go after him. But like
I think that could be a cool area to look at in the later round. So I just
listen. If you look at drafts past, you will find a lot of really good gem running backs that were taken not in the first, second, third, like we did last week when we talked about the 4 through 7, even some undrafted guys. I'm talking Brandon Jacobs, Ahmad Bradshaw. Yep. Like these are those guys. Like,
so imagine getting one.
If you really want a running back, I would love to snag one like 5 through 7.
And that's where like my mindset is at too, because we don't have much real estate. So we're asking the question, like, where do you want to focus? So it has to be like your top 2 have to be like your main areas. And then your third area can kind of be like,
see, here's mine. Like my top 3 running back is like, if I feel we can get somebody 5 through 7, they're not in my top 3. They're not even my top 4 or 5 positions to go after. I'm going with offensive linemen, defensive end, the pass rushers, and I am going with wide receiver. Obviously, Kenny Golladay was a huge boost to our team in free agency, but I still think I would love to add another weapon in the first 3 rounds. I would like to see one. If not, obviously at number 11 with some.
Maybe my mindset was like already like we were getting one in the first rounds. Like I didn't really think of that. Like if we don't, like if we get a defensive guy in the first round, like or even an offensive lineman, like listen, Landon Dickerson from Alabama is available. Like I would take him too. But like I think my mindset is already like so honed in on like we're getting a wide receiver.
Yeah. All right, number 7. If I had to say, I think the blank should target a running back in the first round. So which team desperately needs to target a running back?
The Dolphins. You have the availability. The picks are there. You need to give Tua. Tua needs wide receiver threats, but you also need to give a young quarterback running back threats. So listen, and why not reconnect him with Najee? So just saying, it's there. It might be available.
All right, I'm going with a team that is in desperate need of running back help. And I like where they are at the end of, like, towards the end of the first round, because I don't think any of these running backs are worth being in the beginning or the middle of the first round. So they're in a good spot and they need it very badly. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, well, because they just lost James Conner, so
they moved on from James Conner. Their running backs on their team right now, Anthony McFarland and Benny Snell. That will do it, ladies and gents. So I think they are in a good spot towards the end of the first to get either the first or second best running back in this draft.
All good.
Number 8, the offensive prospect I think will make the most immediate impact this season will be blank.
I do think it's going to be Kyle Pitts, and I did mention this before, that tight end position. Katie and I mention it time after time. There's like, 3 to 4 guys going for it, and those are the names you know. If some kid can come in and break that mold and he can be one of those new guys, he's going to be the most impressive, so I got to go with Kyle Pitts here.
I went with Kyle Pitts. He's going to come in, and I think he's just going to be a monster from day one. So, obviously there's tons of quarterbacks that are going to go in the first, but it takes a rookie quarterback, like a full year to really settle into that, if not longer. Kyle Pitts, day 1, week 1 of the NFL season, beast. Like he's already, like when you guys do fantasy football this year, like he might already crack into the top 5 tight ends that you might want to be taking. So he's going to be fun to watch. Number 9, the defensive prospect I think will make the most immediate impact this season will be blank.
I'm going with Mr. Patrick Surtain from Alabama. He's just honestly such a talented quarterback, and I think he's going to go early. Obviously, a lot of mock drafts I've seen, he goes to Dallas at 10, which makes me upset. Like very upset. He's just very talented, so I do think he's going to come out strong, and I think he's going to be very one of the top players.
Unfortunately for Caitlin being a Bama fan, I too see Patrick Surtain going 10 to the Cowboys. I do see Devonta Smith going to the Eagles at 12. Could be rough. It's
going to be a rough draft tonight.
Those are my predictions.
At least I'm expecting it though. So right before the show, I did tweet out. I was like, like TBT to last year when like the Eagles took Jalen Hurts, and it was no. And I remember you texting me, and like other people are texting me too, like, "Are you okay?" And no, I'm not okay.
couldn't prep for that one.
No, so I think I mentally am prepped for our rivals to get some people tonight.
Well, I think Patrick Surtain is going to be, a great player in the league. I do.
Yeah.
I'm more so going like when I think of immediate impact, I'm going with this guy based on the position. I'm going with a linebacker because they are the quarterback of the defense. They're usually in on every play. This guy is a pass rushing linebacker. He's going to collect the stats on the tackles, on the sacks. I am going with Micah Parsons from Penn State. And he could potentially, he is another guy that I could potentially see going to the Giants at 11. Don't
I was going to say, could be wearing this hat. Who knows?
Him and Blakey Blake at linebacker.
Oh my God, stop. It's like, okay. I love it.
All right. Okay. All right. And our last question, I think we saved the best for last. This is a quarterback draft, right? So Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and Mac Jones. I think the one that has the biggest bust potential is blank.
All right. And listen, these kids are all very talented. I would never want one of them to listen to our podcast and be like, holy shit. Not that they're listening.
I think they're used to it. I think they're used to criticism.
The whole plot and storyline of Trey Lance just doesn't rub me the right way. He is just out of nowhere. Obviously, okay, if you follow college football, he's not out of nowhere. I know who Trey Lance is. A top draft prospect, though, that has never really been in the storyline until recently. And recently is probably 4 to 5 months ago. Out of nowhere, his name blew up. And I joke about this with my boyfriend. There was someone in an office and they just strolled by and they're like, hey, Trey Lance. And just blew up out of nowhere. And now he's literally potentially going at number 3 to the San Francisco 49ers. So to me, I don't think there's enough. And everyone says he's a great kid, great personality. Well, that doesn't translate to football. That doesn't translate to what you can do in the NFL. And to me, there's not enough there for me to be so totally sold on it. So
he's probably out of those 5 considered the project pick. If he pans out, he's kind of a lot of people are kind of is he the Josh Allen of this group?
So to me, I'm not 100% sold. And I know calling someone a flop is mean or whatever and cry about it. But to me, I'm just not, it's got to be Trey Lance for me.
Okay. All right. I want to start by saying, and I think this an easy one to compare is the 2018 draft when we did see 5 quarterbacks go in the first round. I think if you look at literally all of NFL draft history and see first round quarterbacks that have gone, I think you will see more than 50% of those first round guys ended up being busts.
Yeah.
It's more rare that you actually hit on a quarterback, right? So with 5 guys, I just want to start off by saying that I think 2 are going to be good and I could potentially see 3 of them being busts. Just numbers wise, right?
Yeah.
And I want to also say that we've been doing this show for over 3 years now. And I don't think I have ever said a bad thing about anybody from Alabama, but I'm going Mac Jones. Don't murder me.
I won't. He's not a mobile quarterback. I get it.
I will give a compliment when I say my response and say that Alabama is the best at producing NFL players, right?
Offensive linemen.
They're defensive players. Everybody defensively, the cornerbacks, the defensive line, but then you've got everybody on the offensive line. They produce running backs. They produce wide receivers. They are not known for producing quarterbacks. And until I see that trend break and somebody enter the league and blow it up and change that narrative, I'm not sold on Alabama quarterbacks.
I think that and I know Jalen moved to Oklahoma. I see something different in Tua for sure. If you guys are fans of us, AJ McCarron is one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. Hands down. Alabama, and then I was rooting for him so hard in the NFL.
Right.
Totally thought he could have taken over the Bengals job permanently. But I think there's definitely opportunity there. I think Tua might turn that conversation around. I do see potential with Mac Jones, but I 100,000% am totally in agreement with you. They produce players. Offensive linemen is what they genuinely produce. They produce a lot. But then there's many other areas where they do produce. And I think it's a joke because it's like, why can't they produce quarterbacks? Well, the reason why their quarterbacks were always so good is because of the line that they had in front of them. So
right.
I do see it. I see something different in Mac Jones, though. I know he's not mobile. He's really not. And we're not talking about like Lamar Jackson mobile.
He's not mobile. Like he's very ready to step in and like immediately like make like a lot of them are saying he's like the most accurate passer like of the group. Like, so I could totally be wrong, but I am going to go out and say I could see 3 of them not panning out and only 2 of them being successful.
Yeah. And that's listen, that's just trends over time. And it's also with the current state of the NFL where quarterbacks are just kind of recycled like head coaches. And we say that week over week too. Like if you don't make an immediate impact, people are looking at you. And that's scary. That's so scary. Like so scary.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. Oh my God, what a great draft this is going to be. I can't wait.
I'm so excited. We're almost an hour away. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Alrighty. Well, it is that time of our night. As even though this is a special show, we are still going to get it off our chest. Positive, negative, not housewives tonight, but football, wine, anything you want. So I know yours is football related, as is mine. So go ahead and get us started.
Yeah. If this was a regular show and a regular week, we would definitely be bringing up both of these stories. Oh, let's also just throw in the fact that your boy Teddy Bridgewater got traded to the Denver Broncos. That's another thing that happened. We talked about. But these 2 things just happened today. One before about Aaron Rodgers basically saying that like there's those rumors swirling out there. Well, from Adam Schefter himself saying that Aaron Rodgers has told people around the building that he does not want to be in Green Bay anymore. So my get it off my chest on that one is I hate Aaron Rodgers. He's always been a prick in my opinion. And he's always been like a secret, like kind of just a diva all about himself. I don't think he's a good team player. I've never liked him. I do think he is an a-hole. I think I wonder how Packers fans feel because Packers fans obviously love him. And then to hear your guy that you love, who's like your franchise quarterback, like I can't imagine how it would feel if Eli had walked around the building and said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be a Giant.
I think today was eye-opening. Yeah, today was eye-opening for them for sure, I think.
Yeah. And then the other one was saw that Tim Tebow went and worked out for Jacksonville Jaguars and that apparently he is eyeing a comeback as a tight end. They would be signing him as a tight end if they brought him in. This is just annoying, Tim Tebow. Go away. You're like a bad case of whatever that just won't go away. Like, go away. Can we be done with you? He's so annoying. I think, does he still do commentating for college football?
He does, but like he retired from baseball recently, and like, did you even play baseball? Like, stop.
You've been annoying since day one. So these are 2 guys that I had to hear about today on draft day that I was really excited about, and I'm like, really with these 2? Like, go away.
No, we're excited for the draft.
Guys, be gone.
All I say, like, I won't say anything bad about Tim Tebow because I did 2-3 years ago and got harassed by his fan base on Twitter. They didn't leave me alone for 2 weeks, and I got to tell you,
remember that?
Oh God, it was it was the draft. Oh no, it was the Heisman Trophy ceremony because obviously he won the Heisman. Whatever, sucks. So still sucks. So I don't care. And it was like he made a comment like, all the Heisman Trophy like finalists were together and they were all like being really nice to each other. And they're like, yeah, like, dude, like, I hope you get it. You're doing this. Like made a comment. He's like, you guys sound like a bunch of high school girls, like giving each other compliments. Like, oh, your hair is so pretty. All this stuff like on live TV. And I literally tweeted out and I was like, Tim Tebow, go F yourself. That I was like, you're not even good at baseball. I was like, you barely made it in the NFL. I was like, you act like you're a real Heisman Trophy winner. And I was like, you're not good. I was like, so please don't comment on future NFL talent that they're acting like high school girls. Ooh, Katie, I got it in real big. From like little, like they're like simps of like Tim Tebow, like his volume for like 2 weeks straight, just people just constantly DMing me, commenting back, just like ripping me apart. And I was like, good for you defending a big loser.
I don't have Twitter, y'all. You can't come for me. Sorry.
I will post this on our Twitter so they can come for you, but I'll be reading it, so they're coming for me again.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, my get it off my chest is pretty quick and simple. It has to do with the draft tonight. I gotta, like, no bias. I am so pumped for my Alabama boys tonight. Alabama's going to make a great showing. I think they're going to have 6 guys, in my opinion, go in the first round. The popular opinion is 5. There are actually some Las Vegas bets out there. The over under, are they going 5 or 6? I think they're going to send 6 guys. 6, excuse me.
Which is absolutely insane.
But I do love this statistic. Under Nick Saban, he has had 33 first-round picks of guys underneath Nick Saban, compared to he has only had 23 losses in his career at Alabama. So I love that stat. It's such a powerhouse organization. Even years that have been a little bit of a down slump, referring to last year, and then a couple of years ago as well. Like they do produce like a lot of talent. So while they are powerhouses, like during the regular college football season, like we see these guys just do phenomenal things. Even from a coaching perspective, like Joe Judge was under Nick Saban. Like we are full in Joe Judge mode right now. Like he just has clearly learned so much. So I absolutely love it. So I just wanted to bring that out there. And I'm really rooting for my Bama boys tonight and for the rest of the weekend. And no matter where they go, because they could go to places that I'm not happy about, I will still, as players, I will root them on for their career. So
I have no college team, so best of luck to all these guys. Their dreams are going to come true tonight. And
it's such a magical evening.
It is. It's going to be an amazing draft. Obviously, it starts at 8 o'clock tonight. We're 1 hour away, 1 hour, 4 minutes away, and just can't wait. But I know this was a draft theme episode, but please also be sure, in the world of Housewives, right? We've got Real Housewives of Atlanta Reunion Part 2 on Sunday at 8. Now, this came out of nowhere, but this weekend will officially be May. So Roni season 13 premiere is on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday at 9 o'clock. I cannot believe it's here. And Real Housewives of Dallas, that's always been on Tuesdays. So that's going to be on that night, just a little bit later at 10:30. And then as far as the draft goes, first round of the NFL draft on tonight at 8. Rounds 2 and 3 on Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. Rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday starting at 12 p.m. Now, you can watch this on ABC, ESPN, and NFL Network. Don't miss it. It is really going to be one for the ages.
I'm so excited.
I truly believe so. And we've waited a long time for this. So everybody enjoy tonight. And I cannot wait for next week to break it all down. Go Giants.
Let's get a good pick. Let's do it. All right.
Cheers. Enjoy.